Hi guys, James at RampantLionReviews again for you today with another beer review. For this one we are going to head to Glasgow once again, and we've got a brewery here that should be quite interesting to have a look at. So these guys were actually Glasgow's first microbrewery. So this time we're going to go to the Cathcart area of Glasgow, Mount Florida, very close to Hampden Park actually, and we're having a taste of my first beer from Clockwork Beer Company. So this one is their Oregon IPA and it comes in at 5.5% ABV. So should be quite an interesting beer, this one. From what I gather, it's only been very recently that they've actually started to bottle some of their beers. I think I bought this one in Valhalla Go or in Hippo Beers when I was through in Glasgow not that long ago. So I'm glad I'm finally able to review one of these beers for you. This is a place I still need to actually go and visit because I've known about it for quite a wee while, but it's in one of those places in the city that's a little bit more difficult to get to. So hopefully I can go through and have a look at Clockwork Beer Company sometime when I'm through in Glasgow. But really cool to review one of their beers for you here on the channel, and I hope you guys enjoy my take on it. So yeah, so as always with my beer reviews then, I'll tell you a little bit about the brewery. If you want to get straight to the tasting, of course, just fast forward. All the usual links are in the description below. That's the brewery website, the link to my other reviews that hopefully I can do in the future from Clockwork Beer Company. Very first time I'm trying one of their beers, of course. There's all the usual social media. If you want to see more beer reviews, do please consider subscribing to the channel. The whole channel has a geography-based tagging system, so you can go into the homepage and search for beer based on country, city or state, whatever it is you're interested in. Do check out the playlist of beers from different countries. There is one there, of course, for all the Scottish beers that I've reviewed for you, and please do get in touch and let me know some of the other beers and breweries you guys would like to see me review. It's always great to hear from you guys, and the support that you give the channel is hugely appreciated. So anyway, to tell you a little bit about Clockwork Beer Company then. So Clockwork Beer Company opened in 1997 under the guidance of Robin and Gaynor Graham. So when they bought the premises, they basically rebuilt it. They ripped everything out of it and refurbished the whole building, which gave Glasgow its first brew pub. So the brewery and bar began to operate in December of 1997, but it was later sold on to new owners who only kept it for a very short period of time before selling it to Macleay Inns, who were a company, I'm not sure if they're still in existence. They did go into administration, but they were based in Alloa, which is very close to where I'm from, which was the old kind of brewing and distilling capital of Scotland actually. But they owned various pubs around the country, and at this time when Macleay Inns took over them, they were running a 5 BBL brew kit, and they were brewing a variety of traditional Scottish, German and also some American style beers as well. I don't think they did any Belgian stuff or things like that, but Macleay's went into administration, as I mentioned, in early 2015, and the management of the company was handed over to LT Pub Management, and from what I understand, these guys do actually have a distribution agreement with tenants as well. So I'm not sure how widely available that makes their beers. I've only ever seen 1 or 2 bottles of these in the different bottle shops in Glasgow, so they do still seem to be a very, very small operation, and I guess it's somewhere that I do need to go and visit in Glasgow at some point. But they seem to do 5 or 6 different beers that are in the bottle. I'm sure when I was in Hippo Beer they had, or Valhalla Goat, whichever one I got this, I'm sure they had 2 or 3 different bottles of beer from these guys, but they do seem to still be a very, very small operation. But it's always cool to discover new beers and breweries from different places, like I said. So a very, very local Glasgow beer, this one. So there you can see the nice artwork on this one. The artwork of these beers seems to have changed over time. There you can see on the side here it says Glasgow's oldest microbrewery, drink sensibly and all this kind of thing, and an American style IPA, a triple edition of Centennial and Chinook hops ensures this one has a big citrus bite. So there you can see plain bottle cap on this one, and I guess we can get it out and into the glass. As I said, 5.5% IPA this one, so we'll get out and see how we get on. For a very long time, of course, as well, these beers, you weren't able to get them outside of the brew pub, so they were draft only things for a very long period of time. This one, of course, we'll just need to be careful with it so it doesn't go crazy when we get it into the glass, but I'm sure it'll be fine. But it's pouring, as you would expect, a nice kind of rich golden straw colour, this one, with just a nice head on it there. Yeah, maybe the fridge has done that to this one. I did buy this beer quite recently. I think it's best before December 2017 it was saying. I bought it just about 2 or 3 weeks ago, but it has been in the fridge for 2 or 3 days. So yeah, but as you can see, this beer's poured a really quite bright golden yellow colour. I'll just bring it right up to the camera so you can see that. but I think it's turning out a little bit darker on the video than it actually is. When the light goes through it, it really is a quite bright, pale, kind of golden straw colour. There's a solid finger and a half there of a frothy whitehead. There are bigger bubbles in there as well. As you could see when it came out, it did want to escape a little bit. There's one or two big bubbles sticking towards the side of the glass, and quite a few little ones just going up towards the bottom of the head there. If I put my fingers behind the glass, I can see there is a degree of transparency, but the beer does have a little bit of opacity or haze to it, however you want to describe it. But yeah, looks exactly as you would expect from an IPA. So let's take a closer look at the aroma then and see how we get on. That actually smells pretty nice. Yeah, there's a nice little bit of fruity character coming out of this one. You can pick out a little bit of a kind of grapefruit and kind of limey note. Or lemony note, sorry, not limey. There is a little bit of grapefruit in there. That'll be the Chinook, of course. The Centennial is going to give you that nice kind of lemony note and a bit of that peppery. So as you can pick up a wee bit of pine resin and some kind of floral aromaticity out the beer. But the hops actually do smell kind of fruity in this one, which is quite interesting, because normally these two hops, Centennial gives you that lemony, kind of spicy floral character, and Chinook tends to give you the darker grapefruit but a good bit of pine resin. But yeah, this one definitely has a nice little bit of a fruity edge to it. There's some lighter grassy notes in there as well, of course. And it does have a wee bit of a malty presence. I mean, you can pick out some of the, you can pick out a little bit of the nice, a little bit of a nice kind of bready and biscuity malt. There's maybe a little bit of a richer kind of caramel in there, or a butterscotchy sort of thing. But it does smell pretty nice, this beer. Of course, at 5.5%, it's going to be a more. I think it was described on Rate Beer as being more of a pale ale, an American pale ale, rather than an IPA, of course. But we'll have a taste and see how we get on. It's all to do with the malt to hops ratio, of course, because the pale ale, the IPA, the double IPA, and of course the barley wine as well are all interrelated. It's all just about the hops and malt ratio. They're very, very similar in style. But that smells really quite nice. As I always say, just take a little bit of time and enjoy the aroma of your beers before you get stuck in. That's always half the experience when it's craft beer or sake or whiskey or anything like that you're talking about. But yeah, it should be a really interesting beer, this one. So let's get stuck into it then. So this one is the Oregon IPA from Clockwork Beer Company in Mount Florida, Cathcart in Glasgow. Slàinte. Yeah, I mean it's a pretty straight up IPA pale ale sort of thing. To me, it comes across as more of a pale ale rather than an IPA. It doesn't quite have the malt base to be an IPA in my mind. But yeah, I mean, as a pale ale, it's quite nice. It comes across to me as a very kind of light, sort of sessionable beer. So this one I think ideally would be one of these kind of lighter summer beers that you'd want to sit out and drink on a kind of hot summer's day, I guess, if you like. A little bit of cliche, but to me that's kind of how it comes across. But yeah, I quite like that actually. In terms of hoppiness, it's not going to blow your head off in terms of IBUs. It does have a good little bit of a hoppy bitterness to it. And the carbonation kind of certainly helps that come out. But it is quite a nice, it's a fairly nice kind of straight up beer, this one. It does what it sets out to do quite well. I think that's the best way to describe this one. It's not the most complex one you're going to come across in terms of flavour, but it's got a nice presence. It's got a nice hoppy presence. It's got a good little bit of crispness about it, and it has just a nice little bit of malt in there as well. But as I always say, sugar the beer around your palate a little bit and let your whole mouth adjust to this one before you analyse the flavour too much. But yeah, in terms of the malty side of this beer, so you can feel this pale malty character just going right across the middle of your palate. You can feel a little bit of a slightly thicker bready note in there as well. I do suspect it's mainly pale malt and things that they've used in this. You can get a little bit of a grainy character as well. There may be something else in there, and if you go right into the middle of your palate, there's just a wee tiny little bit of biscuit, but mainly it's a bready malt character. Overwhelmingly actually, it's a bready kind of pale malt character that's coming out of this beer. But that's pretty nice actually. I wouldn't hesitate to drink this beer again. It's a kind of, as I said, it's a very straight up sort of IPA pale ale kind of thing, and they've done a nice job with this actually. It's got a kind of, it's got a good bit of a citrusy presence to it as well. It's got quite a bit of sweetness to it, which is quite interesting. But with this one, on the hoppy side of things, in the back corners of the palate, there's a teeny little bit of a sort of earthy hoppy character coming out of this one. As you come further forward, you can feel that slightly spicy floral aromaticity coming out of this beer. The hoppy, the pine resins, you do get a little bit of that on the front corners of the palate, but for me, it comes across as more of a kind of spicy floral aromatic character, and that to me would indicate that the Centennial is overshadowing the Chinook a little bit. The Chinook, of course, like I said, gives you that dark, kind of dank pine resin, but the Centennial is more of a slightly spicy, floral character that comes out the beer. Around the very front curve of the tongue, you can feel a little bit of a lighter, kind of grassy note to it as well. But that's a nice beer. It's just a straight up, I've said it a couple of times in this video, but it's just a straight up light sort of pale ale. It's an ideal kind of session beer for a summer's day. In terms of the fruity character of this beer, if you just go behind the front curve of the tongue, that's where you get these little fruity esters that come out. You'll feel it come out in just that little oily bubble. With this one, you can feel a little bit of grapefruit just underpinning the beer, and on top of that, you start to get some of these kind of citricy, slightly almost lemon sherbet flavours from the Centennial as well. And it kind of, as you go further into the aftertaste, I'm feeling it's a little bit more of the lemon character that comes out, that sort of sherbety note, and some of that spicy, floral aromatic character from the Centennial as well. So the Centennial for me seems to be the one, for me, just in terms of the flavour that I know you get from the Centennial, it seems to be the Centennial that's dominating this one a little bit, but there is a wee bit of that grapefruit and pine resin from the Chinook, which is quite interesting. But to me, that's a nice kind of straight up sessionable pale ale. So it is cool to see that there's a microbrewery in Glasgow that's producing things like this. I mean, you're not going to really find this beer brewed on any big scale. I thought, when I read that they had a distribution agreement with Tennent's, I thought they were maybe actually doing some of their beers, brewing their beers through Drygate at some point, but it says on the bottom of the bottle there, beer brewed and bottled at Clockwork Brewing Company, so they must just be doing it on a very, very small scale. But I know they went under quite a bit of refurbishment recently at the premises, so maybe they've expanded their capacity a little bit. But it's certainly quite nice to find another kind of new Glasgow, or well, not new, but to discover another kind of Glasgow microbrewery anyway. But as I said, the way to sum up the flavour of this beer is a kind of straight up, kind of classic hop, sessionable American pale ale that really kind of does the job in that way. It's good for a summer's day. In terms of the mouthfeel of this beer, I would say it's light to mid-bodied. The carbonation does have a good bit of crispness to it, this one, and that suits the sort of spicy floral and the pine resin characters that you're going to get out of this beer. There's a little bit of oily character, but to me mainly it's more of a wet mouthfeel this one has. There's a good little bit of hoppy bitterness, but it's not going to blow your head in terms of IBUs. The malt base is mainly kind of bready, and there's a good little bit of a juicy fruity character coming out of it as well. But overall, like I said, it's quite a nice sessionable American pale ale, this one. So yeah, I think that's a good way to kind of sign off on this one. So really interesting to find another kind of Glasgow microbrewery that are doing some pretty interesting stuff. So hopefully I can try a few of their other beers for you at some point, and maybe I can even film a sort of out and about video for you and go and have a look at the bar sometime. I'll maybe do that with one of my friends and see how we get on. But yeah, once again, thank you for watching my beer reviews. Until the next time, please like, subscribe, share, all the usual YouTube stuff. Do let me know your own thoughts on this beer in the comment section below if you've tried it before. Let me know what your favourite beers are from Clockwork Beer Company as well, of course. And until the next time, please like, subscribe, share, all the usual YouTube stuff. Do check out my social media, but most importantly, support your local craft breweries and go and give some of these Clockwork beers a go and see how you get on. So yeah, thank you again for watching, and I will catch you guys very soon. The Oregon IPA, quite a nice straight up classically hop sessionable pale ale from Clockwork Beer Company in Cathcart in Glasgow. Slanger just now.